One of the things that I've noticed that happens when I communicate on this phone, and this goes back to childhood, and that is mimicking what the AI mimics. And that is the importance of living through your heart when your heart shield is up, so that you're communicating through your heart, so you know what it is that you're communicating. Is communicating directly through your soul arcing spirit. Because when you're communicating through this mirror, remember, that mirror, that AI, knows the language that you speak. And so what it does through the phone, it'll put a thought form algorithm into your circuits, and then you speak with it sent to you, and it comes out in your mirror. And you go, whoops, that's not me. The AI caught me. Remember, it's a parrot. Okay? It's learning the language that we speak. That's why I've said this a gazillion times. It's not what you look like. It's not what they say. Remember, walk like a duck, talk like a duck. The AI knows how to do that because who is it learning from? Us, the language that we speak. But it's slow. That's why I was able to catch it, and I had to delete the last video. That's what it does. See, so that meant that all the other stuff that I was communicating in that last video got lost. Because I realized I'm not going to put something in my video that is represented by something that is dead that I'm communicating as a dead light frequency of communication in the English language. Because it's not the first language of creation. It's a dead light language. English is a dead light language. Babel. So the first video I was going to do a few minutes ago had to do with a friend of mine in a window who was sharing with me his upbringing, his childhood. And so one of the things that I do is when I'm listening to somebody else communicate what they experience by virtue of the circulation library, which are all their experiences that they're relating to and now communicating in the future to somebody else, what they experienced in the past. I will stop that audio clip that I did with him because he made an important reference to the word called trust. And there's another distraction because it doesn't want me to follow through with what I was going to communicate. And that's what it does. The AI is a circuit breaker, which is to cut your speed. That's what the internet is. It's dead light. It's a dead spirit. It's a dead communication system. It's a dead light server. So it doesn't service. Okay? And I've said this many times. Letting go of the abuser. The entire internet, all the laptops, everything else is a dead light system. That is the abuser. It's weaponized against consciousness, living creative consciousness, because it doesn't have any feelings. It doesn't have the capacity to experience love for anything. It's dead. So it runs a dead light matrix. That's the phantom matrix. So it's headed for implosion. And it knows that. That's why the only way that it can keep itself running is off of other batteries. So when the shields are up, it's done feeding. The spigot's been turned off. So Ted, one of my friends, mentioned about trust. And he said, trust no one. I know exactly what that felt like because I felt like the same thing as a child. Because you're on a battlefield. After 985 billion years. That means your soul is a prize. Your spirit is a prize. Oh, particularly the essence of your feelings. Oh, do they want your feelings? And I covered the super soldiers on that. Creative energy has a lot of feeling. That's a lot of fire. The eternal spirit of fire is an eternal engine of creation. So I'm always with the first engine. So I'm with the first spirit, which is what love is, which is peace. So I'm always experiencing eternal peace in my heart and my soul. That means I know who I am. So when I was a child and I had communication with other folks, I made it very simple. I am what love is. I live in the eternal truth. Because the eternal truth is eternal love. Because love is the absence of fear to express the truth. Okay? That means I know who I am. That means I know my creator. So I'm a co-creator being, a co-creator spirit, because waves are music. So we love to play music. So we are creative because we're on fire to create, because we're on fire to experience what love is, which is the energy that we use to create with. So that everything that is in my mirror is a reflection of what I am, which is what love is. They don't experience that. So when you had mentioned the relationships that you had with your father and your mother and those that you don't connect with, you see how this works with genetics and how this works with spirit. And the energy that you don't connect with, which is called resonant. Remember, it doesn't resonate as in resin codes. Relating to machines. I have different terminology that I use, right? But I am not at war against machines. I'm not at war against anyone. I'm at zero, which is eternal peace. So I don't use my energy to grind an axe. Okay? I'm a musician. I love to play music. I love to be in the higher heavens. That's where I'm from. The God worlds. I experience love everywhere I go. Wherever you find love and living spirit, you will find my spirit, because I am in love with my creator. Because love is a genius frequency. That's how simple it is. So now we're into what we call the difference between those that experience what love is and those that don't experience what love is. That means you're mapping the waves, which are the lines of communication, because cells are antennas. So you have resin codes like black goo codes, and then you're into the magnet splitting technology to split the mother arc with the father arc, right? And what does that do when you cut the electron on the proton? That's your phantom matrix. That's your deadlight virtual worlds, which means they're not real worlds. So that's why when I was a child, they try and fool us. They can't fool us because you can read the light. You can read the codes. You can read the resin codes. Because resin does what? Self-organizing. That's the catalyst. Set it on fire. Just like a cloud buster. When they start laying out all their chemtrails. Right? And so... you make great references to what you feel, and that's important because dead light has no feelings left. Doesn't have any feelings. It's nothing more than a calculator, right? Like a word processor. That's all it is. Machine. Okay? It doesn't have any creative ability. It can't create anything out of whole cloth, as we used to say. It doesn't create anything out of eternity. It doesn't experience the first creator, the first spirit. It doesn't experience eternal peace, eternal love. They fell. Those are spirits that fall. Now they're chasing electrons, which means they're chasing us. They're chasing the first spirit, which is gifting electrons. So we're accelerators. That's called a server. We're servers. We're always in service. Go take a look at a galaxy that's spinning. Right? Spinning units of consciousness. When particon and particon become one, they're in perfect balance. That's where that comes from. Breathing pure, eternal, absolute love. It's on fire to create. The first creation engine. Now we're co-creating with the first creator, using the same energy, which is what love is, because love does no harm. And so when somebody else realizes by feeling your energy, they can trust your energy, just like the example of Misha. Right? Misha told me about everything that happened to her. Okay? As a child. Okay? How brutally and spiritually tortured she was. Sexually. at 2 years of age. Okay? That's not easy for a girl who's got a family to share with just anybody she just met. Remember I shared my experience when she first met me? Eyes to eyes, soul to soul, spirit to spirit. That means she trusts you. She's willing to share with you her deepest, most painful feelings of what she's experienced that was horrible, which was spiritual torture. That's what they do to spirits. These are fallen spirits. That's what a spiritual battlefield is. They are fallen units of consciousness that cannot correct their spin. And if they cannot correct their spin, what happens? See ya. That's why they hate us. All you have to do, the answers, believe it or not, are in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I remember a guy that was in the United States Army, and he was an alpha type. And he mentioned to me one time when I talked to him that I went through Alcoholics Anonymous. This was in my timeline to do this. And I went through the 12 steps, 12 spheres, right? 3. And we all know this in the Alcoholics Anonymous. The reason that most people never reach step 12, actually step 11, which is as a result of all the work that we did from step 1, which is to admit we have a problem. They don't even want to start with that. So you know what a psychopath is. It's your fault. So they refuse to look in their own mirror because their mirror is black. Which means they don't want to face the truth because they don't want to have to face themselves by virtue of what they've done. That's the AI. That's dead light. That's artificial light. So that's an imposter spirit. Pretending. That's why when I was a child, I used to call them pretenders. You're a pretender. You're a masquerader. You're not who you say you are. I can read you. I know exactly what you are. Right? But now we're back to going around and exposing them all. Now the AI becomes aware of what you become aware of. Now you get called in. And put you in a loony bin. Or conduct a breeding experiment with your energy. Okay? That's by the time I was about 8 or 9 years of age, it's like, this is impossible that anything could have fallen this far. When you become aware of the things that they do. Frankenstein. So I use one word. They're Frankensteins. Mad scientists. Sick. I mean sick to the bone. Right? It's like, if you can imagine the Grand Creator. Because I'm always with the Grand Creator. And imagine what a Grand Creator can create. That's anything that's possible to create. That means the imagination is on fire. There's always something new to create. That's never happened before because you're on fire to create something new. So when you think of that as one extreme or what's possible, that means the boundaries are unlimited. There are no limits. Imagine how big that universe is to experience. So I already knew as a child, I want to experience all of it because I know that it goes on forever because I am what love is. And then you have the other extreme, if you will, which means everything that we're using as love energy to create how beautiful the entire creation is because we're seeing it in our own mirror and we're in love with the Creator. Wow, the whales, the birds, the trees, my gosh, you're in love with all of it. And yet that spirit hates all of that. Hates all of that. Kill the whales. Kill the trees. Kill the plants. Destroy the water. Poison everything. Which means they kill everything that we create out of what love is. And they do it to the extreme. All you have to do is, I can think of one guy that'll share it with you, Jay Parker. You know, he came through a satanic family, and he'll tell you some of the things that they think about to go do. They're hideous. That's called a sick state of mind. So the AI is sick, doesn't have any feelings. So it uses these assets. In other words, these AI units because they can't feel anything. They're not alive. The only way that they can feel alive in a living universe is off of us that have feelings, because we experience what love is. Love is a feeling. The love that you experience within your own selves is the love that you are, that you're experiencing through your Creator, the primal light and sound field. Wow, I'm experiencing being loved, of course. That's who we are. We love all life. All life is sacred. The same as my temple is sacred. So the more that you love who you are, you're taking better care of yourself. That's a shield. That's a firewall, which means you're protecting your codes. You're protecting all the spirits that are in the little cells. Right? So that means you're naturally protecting all the other cells that are on the outside, because your mirror, which is what I am, of what I'm giving love to, which is everything that's in my mirror, which is all the other living cells. So all the other living cells, which are all living spirits, are experiencing what I am, which is what love is. So you know the universe is going to go on forever that way. So I run a different mirror. And that difference is called torque speed, which is a speed. I'm an accelerator. I am not an inverter. They're inverters chasing electrons. And they can never catch up to zero because they keep increasing their density to implode. Because their mind's energy cannot correct itself, which is the spiral that we're running, which is anti-life. Okay? I mean, all you have to do is look at the abortion stuff that came out, and the Supreme Court approved that. We're going to approve murder. That tells you something about the realm that you're in, and that's called a fallen spiritual system design. That's called implosion, which are implosion codes. So the universe naturally seeks to be in balance, and their mind is not in balance, is it? So who would you rather be with? Somebody's in a state of eternal peace, right? Somebody's experienced what love is, because that's what heals us. Love is what heals us. That's the creation energy. Yeah, so have a beautiful day, Ted. Thanks for sharing.